Pilates. My name is Michael Miller. This is a Michael Miller trademark training video out to you because you're watching. Thank you and welcome. It's meant for Michael Miller Pilates licensed affiliates, licensed presenters, the Core New Core, my patrons, and anyone interested in surviving and thriving as a Pilates instructor or student. So, just 3 things today. Appeal to different generations is the first one. What Gen Z wants, 4 to 24-year-olds, is number 2. And I want to be core new skinny is number 3. So number 1, and for those of you that have watched a while, you'll recognize that as a pass of the carousel in terms of saying what you're going to say and then letting it go and then coming back and running it by again with a little more detail, a little more depth, right? To do what? To build familiarity in order to transfer control. So I got some great feedback from a friend recently in an email, and I didn't quite have enough of a focus on it until I had a conversation with another friend who called from out of the blue that let me take further what I had gotten from the first email, which was, number 1, appeal to different generations. So I was getting a reflection of recognizing that there are different generations to appeal to. And that in any of those generations, from a customer's point of view, they were coming from, I usually come from a student's point of view, but maybe that's an error in perception. It's what do I get out of it, or what's in it for me? You know, why? Yeah, what's in it for me? What's in it for me? Okay. And so I've always felt that my broadcast comes from a chosen point of view that you were looking for the point of view that I'm putting out there. And because it's the point that I'm trying to make that matters to me, if they're not in it for the same reason, anyway, so why would I bother seeking to, and that's the message I got was, appeal to a broader generation. And so I went looking for the definitions of generations, and the youngest one, I think of my long time ago karate instructor and how cherished the children students were, because you got to make an impression on them that might last a lot longer than an adult because they were younger, right? And so in that spirit of reaching toward the youngest to make an impression on, because it would last the longest, I went looking for more information about Gen Z, and they turn out to be predictably independent, self-confident, and autonomous. A lot because of the state of the internet, and they're able to make money at an earlier age. Which brings me to Venmo. I think I mentioned that last time. Is a payment method out of PayPal that I did put on my phone now as a means of accepting payment. And so, insofar as those characteristics of independent, self-confident, and autonomous would be attributable to what it would take to be a student of mine, especially in the realm of independent, self-confident, and autonomous, because the knowledge that I'm pointing to would be difficult to embrace by someone who didn't have those characteristics. So, number 2, what Gen Z wants. And Generation Z is a letter in the alphabet that, older people were Y, and then millennials. And there's a lot of talk about what comes after Z. I'm in favor of a Gen Alpha, because you finish the alphabet and then you start over. But that might be too self-indulgent of a category name. In any event, Gen Z are the youngest generation going up till 4 years old. And I get this conversation call out of the blue, and I'm talking with someone that's very dear to me and very outspoken, and I realize this is an opportunity for me to ask them, given that they weren't even part of that Gen Z age bracket, more like 40. What does Gen Z want? What does the youth want? Enter the young. What do the youth want? With a fierce conviction and a point of view, and perhaps an honesty that we experienced in the moment. But they said to be skinny. Skinny. That's the one thing they want. The youth. Them, youngsters, or the young end of the spectrum. They want to be skinny. More than anything else, they want to be skinny. And then they want to look good. Right? That was how it went, right? And then the third thing was, I thought it was interesting, and then look pretty, I guess. Right? So the first thing is to be skinny. And the second thing, to look good, so cosmetics and clothes and all of that. And then as a refinement to looking good, probably look pretty. So, in taking my advice of the advice of, or the inclination to, try to translate what I'm selling, which is knowledge about CT and MMP, and that core new tension has to do with this, then if I were to sell, if I were to tell that generation what's in it for me, then I would say core new skinny, as a phrase, as a saying. In other words, I want to be core new skinny. And what does that mean? See, I want to be skinny. There's skinny, and then there's core new skinny. And what's in it for you, if what matters to you is to be skinny, is to know about and be able to look cornu skinny. So, alright, so I'm not sure how this is all coming across in my head or over the phone. So here is a plastic tube that I grab like this, and I hold it in this shape, and yet if it weren't my fingers holding it in this shape, what else is pressing down on it? Gravity, right? So this whole game is always about gravity, and so if this tube represents the trunk of your body, it's gravity that's pushing down on it, right? And if you want to look skinny, the way is to get gravity to ease off, and beyond easing off, to be able to take what you've got and make it even thinner. So maybe it's like, here is cornu skinny. No, I said it wrong now. Here is just skinny if you just pull in, right? But if you know how to grab yourself at different ends of your body, here, let me try it this way. Your hips and your shoulders, and you can engage in cornu tension, that's cornu skinny. There's skinny and there's cornu skinny. And cornu skinny takes your imagination some, but it gives you a direct relationship to your effort to be what you want to be, which is skinny. Because, literally, when you engage oppositional rotation between your hips and your shoulders, right, you draw yourself into more thinness in the middle. No matter how big you are on the outside, no matter how much mass you have, inside, the more you're engaged like this, between shoulders and hips, the skinnier you get. And everything melts into that tension that you're creating and burning. So today was about 3 things, and like presenting my message of CT and MMP to a broader audience, and how to say to them what's in it for them if they learn about this. CT and MMP. Well, CT in this case, and only CT really. See, here cornu is beaming, because we're just talking about that. Not about doing Pilates, but just in the way you engage yourself. I mean, you don't have to be doing any Pilates to be doing this between your shoulders and your ears. And in doing that, and in reaching for that, you find and you fill out your chest engagement to the point where you look just like this in your chest. That's not just Joe standing there relaxed. That's on an inhale, filled out. I've had members of a workshop each pose for that picture that we could all then collect as a collage, pointing to the fact that Joe's looking at something, not just at you looking back. And that makes the point that Pilates has an essence of its own. It's something to be observed. And more than that, it's something to be experienced. And if you want to know how to draw into being skinny, then and what's the question? What's in it for me? You know, what's in it for you? Is the Cornu skinny? Is the way it's done happening underneath it all? Happening underneath it all. And in a way, what Gen Z wants, if that's the characterization of what youth wants, and in that generation, if that's what they want, is to be skinny, then what I have to offer them is Cornu skinny. Man, and knowing how to do that, supports whatever else you do. It's a way you engage your body. That's Cornu skinny. Life can't live forever. Read between the lines. See behind the curtain. Connect the dots. The phone calls, the good wishes, the conversations. Gratitude to all those who share with me. You help me evaluate my point of view and in light of other points of view, and without that, it wouldn't be much fun to direct your thinking and Geist